learning under Katsuri Shibata for a while it showed me a lot of the little intricate things that I was actually doing incorrectly. It really had me rethink my fundamentals.
Sarcophagus, which he is the mummy. He is a fez-wearing mummy with a red coat and really bad puns.
I was RDC's first title fight, and now it's the first international fight. So I was super excited to have an opponent from overseas.
You, petty human with the mask, tell me where Optimus Prime is.
Hey, am I seeing things, or is there like a giant talking robot looking at me right now?
Do not mess with me, human. Bring me Optimus Prime.
How about I bring you a hockey stick to the face, pal? Google up!
I went up to the luxury boxes where they had a box for family and friends. And that's when I looked out and I saw this little tiny ring in this giant sea of people, and I was like, holy fuck, I just did that. That's crazy.
I really think Superman's going to be another Blue Beetle, the Flash situation where they end up losing money. I would like to be proven wrong. I would like for it to be good.
This week's episode is sponsored by Dubby Energy Drinks. Dubby is a brand that is tried and tested with thousands of monthly people consuming their drinks. Dubby launched with just one flavor and slowly grew, and now they have created over 15 plus unique custom-made flavors that are enjoyed by thousands of monthly customers. So get off the big energy bandwagon and check out Dubby. This is how an energy drink should be. Jitter-free, crash-free, no sugars, no artificial colors or dyes, and no calories. And right now, you can get 10% off with the promo code ATPC90. From us here at the Adam Talks podcast as a special gift for you, just for checking out the show. So go to w.gg and use the promo code ATPC90 to get 10% off of your order now.
Welcome back to another great episode of the Adam Talks podcast. This is the third ever episode called Ask Adam, where you get to send me questions and I get to answer it. As you can see if you're watching on YouTube, I am not on screen right now. Well, I'm working on getting some stuff sorted out, so this is a little bit of a different episode. You won't see me, but I will make sure you see the questions if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're not, this is going to be an awesome episode either way. Before we get started, though, can I ask you to do one thing for me? It's just really small, tiny thing that means the world to me. If you haven't already, what are you doing? Are you living under a rock? Where are you going? What's going on? It's the third season. You should be subscribed. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, whatever it is you do on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and right here on YouTube if this is where you're watching it. Leave a comment. God, I love it when you guys do that. You drop comments. It's so fun. It's so cool for me. It's the most gratifying thing in the world. And it never ceases to amaze me, how much it means to me whenever I see somebody drop a comment. That means you're listening. That means you're watching. And it makes it feel like this is not for nothing, if that makes sense. But without any further ado, last year I had posted up an Ask Adam episode and asked for questions, and that episode didn't end up happening. So we're going to start off with a couple of questions from a couple of really awesome people that dropped me some questions last year. And because that episode wasn't made or released, those questions didn't get answered. So we're going to start with friend of the show, country music sensation in Australia, Ray Lee. Ray Lee asked me this. She said, talk about your favorite character in a film and what you love about them. See, now that's a pickle right there. I mean, I have so many fandoms that I really love, Star Wars, the DC movies, the Marvel movies. I love Mad Max and that whole franchise. I just watched Back to the Future the 3 Back to the Future movies. I haven't watched the Ghostbusters movies, and I really need to watch those because I liked Frozen Empire whenever I watched it. The only one that I've ever watched. I haven't watched the all-female casted Ghostbusters movie, which I've heard is dog water, but I've also heard is really good. But as far as my favorite, here's how I'll answer this. I don't think I can narrow it down to one. I have a favorite character as a whole, and that's Batman. Batman's my favorite, period. But what I'll do is I will answer for each, category that I just named out. Let's just stick with four categories, right? Oh, I can't do that. I'm gonna have to just name my favorite characters, and I'll try to give one or two things about them that I really love. So the first one, because I've been on a Star Wars kick here lately, Obi-Wan Kenobi is my favorite character in Star Wars. Ewan McGregor tied me into Star Wars by seeing him. I think I watched A New Hope, and I saw Alec Guinness play him, and it was this calm, this all-knowing kind of feeling to him, even more so in my mind than Yoda. But then you see his backstory. You see Qui-Gon teaching him in Episode 1, Phantom Menace, and you see this patience and this understanding, but also the mindset to do what is right. To not stray away from too far from the path where Qui-Gon did what he felt was right above all. He followed the will of the Force, right? Obi-Wan followed the council, and, ultimately I would say that kind of, did not do any favors for the Jedi Order or anything of that nature. If he would have done what Qui-Gon did, I'm kind of rambling. But Obi-Wan shows persistence throughout the movies. The Obi-Wan series really showed his persistence. It showed him as a Jedi Master from the end of Episode 1 on to Episode 3. And then Order 66 happened, and he had to persevere. It showed him persevering, taking on Qui-Gon's dying wish to teach Anakin the ways of the Force. That prophecy that Anakin would bring balance to the Force. Qui-Gon asked Obi-Wan to teach Anakin, and Obi-Wan did that. He persevered through all of the difficulties. He went against his own beliefs as far as following what the council says, and said, I am going to train this boy. I've told Qui-Gon, after Qui-Gon died, I told him I was going to do so. So he trained Anakin against the wishes of the council, and he trained Anakin persevering through all of Anakin's questions. Anakin was too old to be training to be a Jedi, but still, Obi-Wan persisted. He had a kind heart. He had a good balance as far as mentality goes, in my opinion. He had a great sense of humor, and there was times, and even in Episode 3, you could see him see that kid in him, that Padawan, still there. Like, hello there. That you see him smiling before he jumps down, after he jumps down even. He's having fun doing this. It's not like it's a chore for him. And then persevering after he thought he killed his brother, Anakin. He thought he had left him to die on Mustafar, and he had. But I think Obi-Wan's perseverance and his fortitude to move forward, to not dwell on the past, that's something that's not seen very often, in my opinion, in a lot of characters and films. Obi-Wan for Star Wars is my guy, though. DC, I've already said, it's Batman. Batman, the world's greatest fighter, an awesome dark hero. very questionable choices he makes, but he's brought many people into the fold of the Bat family, right? And he's taught them how to defend themselves, how to defend each other, how to protect one another, and made them a family. Because he lost his family at a young age, all he had was Alfred. So he built this family, the Bat family, you know, including Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, Barbara Gordon, Jason Todd. You know, there's just so many people, man, that he's brought into his life, and I'm missing tons of them. I know it. Lucius Fox's son, I believe, is one of them now. Carrie Kelly, I think that was her name, Carrie Kelly, from The Dark Knight Returns, bringing her into the fold. You know, Jim Gordon would be an extended member of that as well. I think in his own way, he shows that he cares, willing to sacrifice himself for anything that is necessary to save humanity, save the world, save Gotham, or his family, his Bat family. And even Damian Wayne, his son, you know, willing to do anything to save his family, period. Even sacrificing himself. If you move out of those, you go to Marvel. Man, I love Daredevil. But also I love Captain America. You know, I think Chris Evans did an amazing job playing Steve Rogers. And I think Charlie Cox is doing just as good a job playing Daredevil. You know, and both of them are kind of a duality. A Man Out of Time for Steve Rogers, showing how you have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to move forward. You have to be able to, again, persevere. But much like Obi-Wan, you know, he has a strong mentality. He knows what he believes. He knows where he stands, and he doesn't back down. And that willingness, and some would call it stubbornness, I would call it standing strong on your morals, you know, standing strong on your beliefs. And I love that about Steve Rogers. Daredevil, man, he's just an engine of justice. You know, he doesn't kill in the show as far as I've seen. And I could be wrong, I could be forgetting something. I've watched all 3 seasons of Daredevil and have yet to watch Born Again. But, God, let me just tell you, that is such a good series. Such a good character. If you were to go with a different, say we go somewhere else, Star Trek, it's always Kirk or Picard. I mean, some people say Spock, obviously, or Dr. McCoy, Bones. For me, it's fucking, it's gotta be Kirk. I love Captain Kirk, man. And it's not only Shatner, I thought Chris Pine did an amazing job as Kirk. And I thought that they really brought the hope and the spunk to that crew when they needed it. Willing to do whatever, literally whatever, in order to get the job done. And not really caring if they're going outside of protocol to do it. It means a lot, you know. Seeing that nobleness, that love for the crew, wanting to see all of their friends make it. Captain Kirk is just great. If you go to, let's say, I liked Lord of the Rings, that series, you know, Bilbo Baggins was awesome in The Hobbits. Obviously, you got Frodo, you got Sam, you got Merry Pippin, Gandalf, Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, you know. I don't think there's one character I could really nail down and say is my favorite. I loved all of them. I thought they were all awesome. I forget what I think his name was Thorin. I liked Thorin a lot in the Hobbit movies. I thought he was really awesome. But the camaraderie and the family and everything within Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies was just outstanding. Chef's kiss to that. If I had one more that I would have to say, it would be Doctor Who. And man, from 9 forward, all the way up until David Tennant took over for a short period of time again. I watched all of them. You know, my favorite's Peter Capaldi. I loved seeing the gruff old Scott, you know, going in there and learning to be softened, learning to be able to accept what people do, you know. And I love the first, after I think the first episode of his, where Matt Smith's doctor calls and talks to Clara, and it's like, he's me. That is he there, the doctor? What's he like? Please don't tell me I'm old. And Matt Smith's hilarious. He was the best. He was one of the best doctors. But he explains that he's scared. This is a new body. This is a new whole thing. This is a whole new thing. But it's still him. All of his memories are still in Peter Capaldi. And it's kind of like rebirth. You know what I mean? It's obviously regenerating, but, you know, rebirth, showing you that you can recreate yourself. It's scary. It's really scary. You still have all of the past stuff that you've done, but you can recreate yourself, become someone new, and learn and be better from it. That's what I took away from it anyway. So I hope that answers that question, Riley. Thank you for asking that last season, and I'm sorry I didn't get around to it till now. We're going to go to one more of those that I didn't get around to until just now. Professional wrestler who's been on Impact Plus, a guy who's a good friend of mine that I've talked to. I trained for a very, very short period of time, and I think I trained literally one time with him in ring when we were with David Barmore. He was training us. We were learning at an SCW show in 2018 or something, but I've kept in touch with this guy. He's a really cool dude. Pretty boy Matt Odom. He dropped a line and said, what would be your ultimate biggest goal in wrestling? Like, if you could accomplish one thing in the business, what would it be? Whew. Man, I want to say that's a really heavy question, dude, but if I could accomplish one thing, it wouldn't be anything massive like a lot of people say. Oh, if you're not getting to the absolute top, then you're not in it for the right reasons. I don't care about that. Frankly, I really don't. I don't care about, you're going to lose a lot when you first get here, but that's all okay. You're supposed to lose all the time. I understand that not everybody's developmental. Not everybody, obviously, independent wrestling promotions are developmental. You develop in the indies. You develop in the early stages. You develop in training matches. Much like here in town, SCW had a free show at Frosty Tree with trainees. That's freaking awesome. You know what I mean? Do those a lot. Let your trainees get some momentum. Let them learn before you put them in the ring with somebody else. I'm getting off topic. What I'm basically getting at with that was I don't really care about the paying your dues thing, and I may get heat for that. That's what it is. I don't care about that. I think everybody should have an equal opportunity to learn, to feel good about wins, to feel bad about wins, to feel good about losses, and to feel bad about losses, Not being targeted, not being told all the time, well, look what you did wrong. Well, here's what you did wrong. Well, here's what you did wrong. Well, no, here's how we fix this. Here's how we make this better. Here's how encouragement's a big thing in my book, and if I could accomplish one thing, one goal in wrestling, it would be, honestly, and this may sound as far off as anything, but I want to get a wrestling ring, and I want to get a wrestling ring. I want to find a solid spot that I can do shows at, and I want to bring my promotion that I had in 2021 back to life as a real thing, an actual promotion, something I can call my own, something I can make storylines for, something I can promote shows for, something that I can say, look, the talent that I know I have, regardless if people listening to this think I do or don't. I'm a very creative guy. I've watched wrestling since I was 7 years old, 1997. And I've talked to so many different people about running a promotion, about how to book shows, about how you make things work, how you build stuff. I want to be able to put that into action. I want to be able to make my own show. I want to be able to run my own promotion and be able to, see it thrive, see it do good. And by do good and thrive, I don't mean go like statewide or make like huge numbers or anything like that. My thing is, I love wrestling. I love professional wrestling. I've loved it since I was 7. I've wanted to be it since I was 7. And finally, when I turned 32, I got that opportunity from Antonio Reyes, who is an awesome trainer, awesome wrestler. Guy knows what he's doing. I can't thank him enough for giving me that opportunity, for giving me the chance to wrestle, to be able to live a dream that I've had since I was 7. I want to be able to make Spa City Championship Wrestling be a Hot Springs based promotion that I can run. And if I draw 50 people, cool. If I draw 100 people, phenomenal, you know what I mean? But I'm not wanting to get famous. I'm not wanting to go to WWE. I don't want to go to AEW or TNA or Ring of Honor or MLW or any of these promotions. I don't want to wrestle any of these promotions. If I'm being honest, I think, and I haven't said this before, but I've contemplated retirement after 7 matches. Terrible. And it's not because I don't want to get in the ring. It's not because I don't want to wrestle. It's because my health has not been amazing. And I did it to myself, and I'll admit that openly. I've smoked cigarettes since I was 18, and I've not taken care of myself. I can always turn that around, but that takes dedication. That takes a lot of hard work and dedication. And I've got a plan set up, and I'm going to try to start doing that. I'm going to try to start getting into shape. Now, I'm not going to make any promises to anybody about anything, especially myself, because I don't know what the future holds. All I know is that I love professional wrestling, and as far as if I could accomplish one thing in the business, it would be to bring SCCW back to life in a professional sense, to be able to get talent, some of the best names, the biggest and best names in my mind, and bring them to SCCW. That we're talking Drayshawn Prince, we're talking Keegan, we're talking El Rey, we're talking Jeremy Lewis, we're talking Adam Shepard and Kyle Love. We're talking about the modern day monsters. I mean, I'm talking about Insane Shane, looking for Ray Ivy. I mean, you're talking about awesome names. And even you, pretty boy Matt Odom, I would love to have you on a show if I ever got this dream accomplished. I'm not going to say never say never. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I'm going to say that is my dream. That is my biggest goal for professional wrestling. I want to have some of the best, have Rich Rockwell ring announcing, have a couple of really good guys on commentary. I don't know who, because I have not been around enough pro wrestling in the state to know who's the best commentators. I put Rich at the table. No problem. Have him ring announce. Have him go over to the commentary table. He could commentate along with Sarah. I think that would be a cool combination. But at the same time, I would love to see Carl Mayhem in the booth, commentating alongside either Rich or Sarah. Have one be play-by-play, have the other be color. That's the way it would be. I'm a very creative guy. I'm a guy that loves professional wrestling with a passion, and if I could do anything, if I could snap my fingers right now and have a location held down for me for a year, and it would only cost one payment, and they'd be like, or if they say, hey, you bring people here, we'll get you in, whatever, we'll let you use our area if you could bring people to our venue. dude, I mean, I'll do it, you know? I would snap my fingers right now to do that. I would snap my fingers to have a wrestling ring and a venue. The only thing that would be missing, obviously, would be money. So, money's always the holdup, though. But we'll see what the future holds. I got something coming, not this coming up year, not 2026, but 2027. I have something having to do with SCCW coming that I'm super excited about. I've got some of those names that I've already said out of those dream roster members of mine. I've got some of those names already ready to go for this project, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And keep an eye out on the SCCW Facebook page, the SCCW YouTube page, and soon the SCCW Spotify page. That's right, you heard me. You'll see. Just trust me. It's something you won't want to miss once it happens. But I hope that answers your question. I really appreciate you chiming in, man. The next question is from a guest I had on earlier this year. We are talking to the one, the only Allison Hartman. She is a ufologist from Arkansas, from here in Arkansas, that I had on the show, and I got to talk to her about some really cool stuff. And she asks, what is your opinion on life after death? What do you think happens to our souls after our body dies? What do you think kids are struggling most with these days, and why? How is it different from when you were growing up? Whew, man, you packed some heavy stuff in there, Allison. So, let's go with the first question first, obviously. Life after death. Well, I'm a Christian, so it's all dependent on where you put your priorities in your life. Is your priorities with Jesus? You know, is your priorities with God? Is it with Jesus? Have you given him your life? Have you let him come into your life? And if so, you're going to the good place. You're going to heaven. If not, oh, shit, you know. You're going to hell. It's black and white, and it sucks, especially for people you know don't believe the same as you, or don't go in the same place as you, or whatever. You know, if you don't believe that, you know, it is what it is. You know, that's the hard thing. That's the way I believe. You know, Acts 2:38 says, repent and be baptized, each one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ, for the remission of sins, and ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost. For it is promised unto you and your children, and all that are far off, as many as our Lord our God shall call. So it's a calling, right? He calls to you. He calls to your soul. You feel it in your spirit. You go and get baptized. Baptism, a lot of people say, is symbolic. It's symbolism, showing that you're going under and you're coming up a new man. You're going under, letting go of your old self and being brought up to be a new man. But the Bible says, Acts 2:38, like I just read, be baptized, each one of you, for the remission of sins. So, you know, it takes your sins away. Baptism, boom, boom, boom. You know, and then you shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost. There's 9 gifts of the Holy Ghost. Don't get me to lying. I haven't read the Bible nearly enough lately for me to be able to recite the 9 gifts of the Holy Ghost. But you will receive the gift of the Holy Ghost for the promises to you and your children, all that are far off, as many as our Lord our God shall call. So, it's a promise made to you from God. And that's how I believe, guys. And that may sound wacky, kooky, whatever. But that's just the way I believe. That's what I think. After you die, you go to one of 2 places. It's either eternal torment and torture, or a death of your soul, or you go to a place and live forever in bright and sunshine and happiness, you know, where there's no pain, no sickness, so on and so forth. And what do you think happens to our souls after our body dies? Well, that's what I think happens. So, not sounding short with that answer, but I think I explained that answer whenever I explained the very end of the last part. So let's go to the next part, all right? What do you think kids are struggling most with these days and why? Well, social media is a big thing. Screen time on your phone is a big thing. I even catch myself doing it all the time. This is going to sound weird, but I set an alarm for myself on my phone, 7 p.m., and the alarm's name is Off Your Damn Phone, because I realized I was letting my phone kind of suck me into it. And I think it's not only adults that deal with that, but a lot of kids deal with that too, because every kid you see nowadays got their face in their phones. They got Snapchat, they got TikTok, they got Facebook, Instagram, whatever. They got all of it. And a lot of the times I think that is something that kids struggle with. There's cyberbullying, but there's also a need to feel wanted, to feel loved, to fit in. And I think that's, kind of the way it always has been, in different ways. Obviously now we're in the cyber times, Gen Alpha. It's all cybernetic. They got some weird language, but I think that the internet, I think cyberbullying, I think the need to fit in with trends. There's so many trends that are online anymore. You see people dancing, doing these dancing trends or challenges or whatever. And I think that goes hand in hand with fitting in. If you're not doing that, if you ain't got the coolest phone, if you ain't got, if you're not doing this or this, if you ain't got X amount of followers on whatever, you're gonna be made into like an outcast. My daughter the other day, my oldest daughter's talking about how many TikTok followers she has. And I'm like, you're 14. What does it matter how many TikTok followers you have? My youngest daughter's talking about wanting a phone already. She's 9. So I think the internet, phones, social media, cyberbullying, challenges, trends, and not trends as in like clothing, like, the traditional sense. This is a trend. We're going to wear our hair into a mohawk or whatever, like trending online, so that's kind of what I think it is. And how is it different from when you were growing up? Well, when I was growing up, let's see, I was 16. It was 2006. I think YouTube was probably just starting. Flip phones were still there. You didn't have touchscreen at the moment, I don't believe, from what I remember. I don't think iPhones were even a thing for a little while. I can't remember when iPhones came into the picture, if I'm being honest. But here's what I'm trying to get at. You didn't have all of this stuff. Trends were people at school talking and looking at certain... excuse me. Trends were people acting and looking a certain way and dressing a certain way and hanging out with certain people. Now trends are dances and not clothing choices, dances and challenges and this and that. I don't understand a lot of it. You fit in back in the day because you had your parents had X amount of money, or because this or that. Nowadays, that still applies. I don't think there's a ton of differences. How about that? I don't see a ton of differences. I see some differences, and the main difference is access to anything and everything. The world is at your fingertips with phones nowadays. And we had phones back then. They just weren't nearly as advanced, and there wasn't videos all the time where you had to compare yourself to other people online or get so many people to watch your stuff or this or that. And I'd say that's the main differences. We didn't have cyberbullying back when I was a kid because bullying was still a real thing in schools. I'm sure it is now. My oldest daughter, my youngest daughter have talked about it before. I think it was much more physical, much more prominent, much more person to person when I was a kid, when I was growing up, compared to now when you can say something about somebody or to somebody miles and miles away, and literally could be the reason they kill themselves. And don't censor me for that, whoever's listening to this. It's the truth, you know. But that's kind of the answers, I think. I don't think there's that much difference other than having unlimited access to things nowadays, where we didn't back whenever I was a kid. Thank you for that question, Allison. Thank you for those questions. I appreciate it. Look, another wrestler, another friend of the show, another longtime listener, and a good friend of mine. We have the one, the only Jeremy Lewis. Who is your favorite Pokemon? Dude, come on. Charmander. For a little while it was Charmeleon. When I was a teenager, I liked the way Charmeleon looked. But I think Charmander is probably my favorite. A lot of people are like, Charizard! Or Blastoise! Or Bulbasaur! My wife's is Squirtle. But mine's Charmander. I love fire Pokemon, man. And if I was playing the games and stuff, it was it was Charmander on the original ones. It was Cyndaquil on the newer ones. Any game where you get to pick whatever one you're getting out of the 3 Pokeballs, it's going to be the fire one for me every time. I got to get the fire Pokemon. Because I like fire Pokemon, man. It's just the best. It's just the best. But yeah, that's my favorite Pokemon. It says the second question is, where can the people listening to this or watching this subscribe or get more information about the Adam Talks podcast, amongst other things? Good question. Go and check us out. Look us up on Facebook, on Instagram. We have a TikTok page that does not do hardly anything. I'm not going to lie. There's nothing on the TikTok page. I mean, there's season 2 stuff, but it's early season 2. I don't have anything from later in the year of last year. It's all old stuff. I haven't uploaded anything, and I can, if you want the quite honest, if you want the real honest reason why I haven't uploaded anything on TikTok or made reels or anything, man, that's a lot of work. I'm recording 2 episodes every other week that I have to upload for the next month. And as soon as I finish editing it, or as soon as I finish downloading it, I have to clear space for the next week and make another room on the Riverside app. So, I mean, there's no time for me to be able to make reels for anything. I don't have time to roll through and do this and that, because I film my shows in advance. I record my episodes in advance. That way I'm lined up already. There's the secret to the show now. That's why you're getting more episodes more frequently, more regular paced. But yeah, YouTube. You can watch and listen on YouTube, on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. So go check us out everywhere. Obviously, you're here right now, so more power to you. Give us a like, man, on all of these things. Give us a follow, a subscribe, whatever it is. I do most of the content as far as promoting and everything on Facebook. So go and check the Facebook page out, man. That's the best way to check out what we got coming up for the next month. And we got some good ones coming up for the month of June. I'll tell you that right now. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got some Hollywood people on there. We got theater-trained actors on there. As well as another podcaster, man. Another person that does podcasts, much like me. Very excited to have him on. It's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely go and check that out. Facebook page right now. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm just telling you that. But I hope that answers your questions, Jeremy. Man, I appreciate you chiming in, buddy. One of my best friends in the world. Guy I consider family, much like Daniel Beasley and Cameron Bird. This guy is one of my very best friends, and I consider him like them a brother. My friend Kyle Richardson, formerly a wrestler for SCCW way back in like 2009. Axe Richardson, Kyle Richardson. He says, "Am I George Clooney?" And is any of this real, or is it binary code? Okay, guys, so let me peel back the curtain, as it were, on this. This is an inside joke. Me and Kyle are weirdos. Ask anybody that knows us. We are ridiculously stupid all the effing time. I mean, we go back and forth quoting Batman lines from the 90s movies. You know, hello, Freeze, I'm Batman. Try a fireman, less to take off. You know, have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? We will go back and forth for an hour probably, just delivering those lines. And here lately we've been on a George Clooney kick, because Clooney played the last Batman in the Schumacher, in the two Schumacher films, in Batman and Robin. George Clooney was Batman. Very hated role by himself included and everybody else around the world. Kyle asked, am I George Clooney? Kyle, you are not George Clooney. But a little bit earlier today, Kyle was Clooneying me. If you don't know what Clooneying is, you never will. But I'll explain it so you do. Basically, we send George Clooney GIFs. I say GIF. 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 George Clooney GIFs back and forth to each other. And like in poker or anything else, we say, I see your Clooney, and I will raise you this Clooney. And I think I won earlier. So, in your face, Kyle. You're not George Clooney. Nobody is. Nobody can be as smug as George Clooney. He is the handsome Dr. Batman Clooney. There you go. Is any of this real or binary code? Another inside joke. The other day, I want to say the other day, but it was really probably a month ago, Kyle called me up and he said, hey, I said something. I was like, maybe I was drinking. I can't remember. Maybe I was drinking a Coke or something like that. And he goes, hey, that Coke isn't real. It's just ones and zeros. And that's where this all started. None of it's real. Nothing's real, Kyle. Is any of this real? No. It's all ones and zeros. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you chiming in, man. We will be talking very soon, I'm sure. All right. And the next question is from Fish Lee, the owner, creator, artist, writer for Mr. Fish Comics, which November is coming very much later. But November will be the final audio drama that I have for the year on Shirley Boy Entertainment's page, and it's a collaboration with Mr. Fish Comics. Me, Jesse Teague, and Jeremy Lewis brought the Mighty Caw issues 1 and 2 to life in this audio drama, and I'm very excited about letting you guys check it out. It is awesome. So Fish writes, what is the hardest lesson you ever had to learn, and how has it made you grow as a person? Let's see. The hardest lesson I ever had to learn, I think, was that I am worth, or the hardest lesson that I'd learned is, I guess, my self-worth. I don't know if that's a lesson. But finding my self-worth, there we go. Finding my self-worth and believing in it enough to choose me over pain. So let's go back. Let's rewind the clock to 2022. Me and my ex-wife were not in a good place, and we've been together for 15 years, and we haven't been in a good place for nearly the whole time. There were spurts of good stuff, but for the most part, it was not good. I made a choice to leave her because I valued myself and I valued my kids. And that's not to say that she doesn't value herself or the kids, our kids, but I made the choice to get myself out of that situation because the fighting was all the time, the screaming, yelling, arguing was all the time. and I didn't see. It took therapy, a lot of therapy, for me to find my self-worth, for me to find out that I was worth something, that I was, worthy of feeling good about myself, that I was able to say, hey, I don't have to stay in this. I don't deserve to stay in any of this bad feeling, this bad relationship that we were in, I found the strength within me. And that was very hard, because after years and years of you kind of being tore down, I guess, and I'm not trying to say too much. If you listen to the first couple episodes of the show, you go way back to season 1, and there's the brief history of Adam, I think is what the episode's called. It's like the 3rd episode or something, or the 5th, I can't remember, but I go into more detail, but I'm not going to do that after this. So basically, I was so depressed because I couldn't see my own value. I couldn't see that I was worth something. You know what I mean? So that was a hard one for me to figure out. It was a hard lesson for me to learn that, hey, you are worth something. You do deserve to be happy. You deserve to give yourself a chance at life. I hope that makes sense. I was gonna say, does that make sense? But I hope that makes sense. I have grown so much since realizing that. I've continually gone to therapy, and I've grown so much. Therapy, I usually have a time in the show where I talk about mental health, because mental health is so important. Excuse me. Mental health awareness is so important to me. I have anxiety. I've been through PTSD. I've had depression. I've just dealt with a whole bunch of different things, and I didn't feel that I deserved anything good for the longest time. And then I started going to therapy, and it's helped me so much to see that I do deserve things, that I am good enough. And sometimes I even question myself to this day of, just asking myself, hey, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Or just being down on myself. I've noticed myself doing that, and I've gotten to the point recently where I can give myself pep talks, because that's like an emotion talking, and emotions can do so many different things, but logically you have to reinforce yourself. You have to talk to yourself and tell yourself, hey, get out of that, dude. You know who you are. You are a good dad. You're a good husband to your wife. You're doing all kinds of things. You got a bunch of good friends. You got a good job, And I would never have been able to do any of that. So if I hadn't found my self-worth. So that's how I think it's helped me grow. Another question you asked is, what is a goal you worked hard for and achieved? And what is the next goal you are aiming for? Ooh, I like those questions. Let's see. A goal you worked hard for, and I worked hard for and achieved. Man. People always say that it's hard to think positively about yourself, and God, it is. Because I'm drawing a blank right now. I became a professional wrestler. What am I thinking, man? So yeah, I went to professional wrestling training in 2018, which again, I was with my ex-wife. So a lot of factors went into me not continuing to go to training. I went for about a month every weekend to professional wrestling training. And then you jump forward to 2022, I want to say. And I started going to training again. And I went for, I want to say until 2023, I was going off and on to wrestling training. But 2022, I got to realize my dream that I had since I was 7 and become a professional wrestler. October, Fight Night, South Central Wrestling, October 22nd. I think it was October 22nd of 22. Whoa. That's wild if that's what it was, but it may not have been. Anyways, I was wrestling one of my very best friends in the world, a guy I was feuding with, the guy that just asked the question before this, Jeremy Lewis. And I couldn't have asked for a better debut match. Yeah, it was really rough. I mean, as far as, you know, the way it looked, the way it felt, it was clunky. It was just a lot of tying up. There wasn't hardly any action, but I could not have asked for a better match, a better opponent to go against in that match. That's a dream that I achieved, a goal I worked hard for to achieve. The next goal I'm aiming for, man, well, right now I'm working on finishing editing up the first audio drama for 2026. I've got to finish the script for the next audio drama, which is almost done. The script's almost done. I got to cast that one. And then I got to finish up the slate for 2026 as far as what other audio dramas I want to make. I'm going to do, I did 6 this year. I think I'm going to do 4 next year. I may shoot for 6, but I think I'm going to draw my line at 4 and say if I get anything more than 4, great. But also next year, I am starting a big project that I alluded to earlier, having to do with Spa City Championship Wrestling. So the planning and everything like that goes into it. Next year, it all starts production for Spa City Championship Wrestling. Those are the next goals that I'm really aiming for right now. And you had one more question, I believe. Let me see. What is something you're really proud of that might not get enough recognition? Whew. Jesus. That's a good one, too. I think I'm really proud of my kids. I'm proud of my kids, but I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna not only say my kids because I'm very proud of them. I'm proud of them growing up being strong and being brave and bold. My oldest daughter is so smart. I wish I had the smarts she had, whenever I was her age. Because I had so much trouble learning, and she's just flying through all this stuff like it's nothing. My youngest daughter, I wish I had the energy that she has. I'm so proud of her for being as, she may not be happy all the time, but she shows that she's happy all the time. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I'm very proud of the girls. They're going to become very good women, I feel. Right now they're doing great in school. They listen, they mind, they don't argue a ton. I'm so proud of my girls. And I don't say that enough, but girls, if y'all are listening to this episode, I'm very, very proud of you. Lily has brought her grades up so much, and Bella has kept her grades steadily at a good grade. And like I said, they listen so well. They don't argue. Whenever it comes to Tuesday and Thursday, so we have a schedule here. Monday and Wednesday is chores day. Tuesdays and Thursdays are fun days. As long as I get their homework done, we have fun. We do stuff as a family. It's a lot of fun. And then Fridays, obviously, they go to their moms if it's in the school year, or if it's not the third weekend out of the month. But I'm proud of them in a way I can't explain at all. I can't explain it. I'm just very proud of my daughters. And the other thing I'm proud of is it's kind of 2, I guess. So entertainment wise, I guess I'm not gonna say wrestling wise because I had 7 matches. I won a championship in my 5th match, and I held that championship until my 7th match. But that's not what I'm proud of. I mean, that was awesome. I never thought I'd win a championship, but very grateful they gave me the opportunity to hold that title for them. I'm proud of this podcast. I'm proud of myself as far as the podcast goes for staying dedicated to getting episodes out on a continual basis. I think that's something I struggled with at the beginning of season 2 and the end of season 1 because I was trying to do so much. And I'm proud of myself for not giving up on this stuff. The other one is Shirley Boy Entertainment. I'm very proud of where I've gotten, where that has gotten. And I'm not talking views or likes or subscribes or any of that. I'm just proud that I'm getting things done. I have 4 more audio dramas coming this year for Shirley Boy Entertainment every other month. So we got one in June, we got one in August, we got one in October, and we got one in November. No, we got one in September and November. No. I don't remember. Either way, July, September, and November. That's what it is. Because I think I have one that came out this month already. Either way, I'm very proud of being able to stay dedicated to not only the podcast but Shirley Boy Entertainment's audio dramas. Because God, it is so difficult to stay dedicated to anything whenever it's a project. And in the same hand, that's why I haven't gotten into the best of shape. I haven't gotten back into wrestling shape or anything like that because it's so hard to stay dedicated, especially whenever it's something you have to make yourself do. But the Shirley Boy Entertainment audio dramas and the podcast come so naturally. I'm very proud of myself for staying dedicated to these things, and I'm very proud of my daughters. So, thank you, Fish, for sending those questions in. I really appreciate it, man. All right, an actor who has been in Hallmark films and also lives here in the same city as me, Hot Springs, Arkansas. Marks Mitchell asks, what do you think is the biggest threat to a person's livelihood? Something that steals all peace. What can be done about it? I believe it's mental illness. It wasn't until I realized that nobody owed me compassion, and for that matter, no one owed me understanding, that things started to change. Along with a good therapist and a lot of work, did I get my peace back and not put loved ones through so much shit and just expect them to understand or have compassion on me. Man, so the question was, what do you think is the biggest threat to a person's livelihood? Something that steals all peace, and what can be done about it? I don't have a real answer for that, if I'm being honest, because there's so many different things, man. So, what steals a person's peace? So, in my opinion, you have to let something steal your peace, right? You have to actively let it take it away from you. And I could be completely wrong. Some people may not be able to, focus, or some people may not be able to, the background noise, the outside noises may get to them all the time. For me, it's freaking dogs out here, man. And that's funny. It's me being funny, but at the same time, I'm kind of serious about it. My dad has a lot of hunting dogs, and they bark continually all the time. So I could be in the middle of a podcast. I could be outside just trying to enjoy a cool night, smoking a cigarette, whatever. And there they go. Oh, for no damn reason. They steal my peace. As far as people go, though, I think that anger steals peace. I think frustration steals peace, but I think anger and I don't think sadness steals people's peace. You can find solace in sadness. That sounds as dumb as it could possibly sound, but think about it. If you're sad, you can find peace in that sadness. You can come to a realization in the sadness. If you're angry, you're never finding peace. That peace is gone because you're mad about what? Who knows? Why are you mad? What made you mad? What put you in that position? What did you let interact with your consciousness? What did you let come into your life that causes chaos? You know what I mean? It could be a relationship. It could be... I think anger and I think fear are the two biggest things that take away peace from someone. And what can you do about that? I mean, I think the way I said it earlier kind of might help with that. You have to reinforce yourself. Whether it's verbally, whether it's written, whatever it may be, you got to talk yourself off of that cliff. You got to talk yourself out of that hole. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I'll go to work and I'll just be depressed and there's no reason for it. There's no reason for me to be sad or upset or mad or anything. And I got to talk myself down. And I do it out loud. I'm a janitor, so at a primary building, at elementary school, right? So after the kids eat breakfast and after the lunch ladies come in and wipe the tables, after they sanitize and clean the tables and the benches off, I'm left alone in there. So I can talk out loud to myself. And I'm like, look, dude, what are you doing? What are you so mad about? What are you so upset about? Why are you downing yourself right now? Why are you putting yourself down? What is that going to do? And why are you doing it? What's the reason? Because I'll sit there and I'll feel down. I'll feel upset. And the easiest way, I guess, to say it is you got to talk to yourself like a friend would talk to you. You know how your friends talk to you and they'll be like, hey, dude, you're not doing anything wrong. You're living the best you can. You're a good dad. You're a good this and that, you know. I take that literally. I literally take that approach and talk to myself as if I'm a friend talking to me. Because I know me better than anyone. If I'm mad, I know why I'm mad. And I know how to fix it. I know how to solve it because it's me. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it works for everybody. I know it works for me I would say about 75 to 80% of the time, which is a good margin. You don't want it to be like 40 to 50% of the time it works and the other time it doesn't. So that's how I deal with it. That's how I deal with it. If it's fear, what are you afraid of? Why are you afraid of this? What have you done to make you feel this way? You know, like if I'm afraid that people up at work are mad at me or something like that, I think the way I would rationalize it would be like, okay, what have you done to make them mad? And if you come up with nothing, if you can't think of a single thing that you've done to make them mad, be like, stop being mad, stop being afraid, stop being worried about it. There's no reason to worry about it. If you're mad, be like, what pissed you off? Okay, so why did that make you mad? Why are you pissed off? Can you do anything about that? Is it going to help to stay mad? Okay, well, let's move on and have a better day than we've had so far. I feel like that's the best you can do whenever your peace is taken away from you. Especially if, like I said, I think fear and anger are the two biggest things that take peace away from people. And you can get those two reactions from a multitude of things in life. So I feel like talking yourself down off that hill, talking yourself out of the hole you're in is a very good way to start off with it. And if it doesn't work, therapy, man. Therapy's the way to go. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate you sending that message in. And the last question we have is from Hollywood special effects artist. He makes masks. He's going to be on the show a little bit later on. He is the one, the only, Tony Buck from Tony Buck Special Effects Studios here in Hot Springs. And he asks, what got you into this? As far as podcasting and everything, man, I've been a podcaster. I've been doing podcasts since, I want to say 2018. I was doing them. Shirley Boy Entertainment, and I did not know how to do podcasts. Not in any way. I made an episode, and you have segments and episodes and stuff, and I thought segments were episodes. So I make a show, and I do these different episodes, but they weren't episodes. They were just segments on the same episode. So we moved forward from there, and I was like wanting to do a podcast a couple years ago, 2022. I wanted to do a podcast again. I wanted to start talking a little bit, just get my feelings out or talk about nerd stuff or whatever. So I started this show, and it was originally just going to be me talking about things I found interesting. You know, I think everybody has an opinion, just like everybody has a tongue, teeth, eyes, nose, personality. You know, everybody's got interests, and I thought it would be cool to voice my opinion on different things. You know, from wrestling to movies to D&D, whatever, games. And that's how it started, you know. So the first episode was I think an introductory, and I think it was talking about the new DCU with James Gunn at the helm. And then the next episode, I believe I got a guest on. And then the next episode was going to be a me by myself episode. And it was going to be every other week. I was going to either have a guest on or it was going to be me by myself. Well, my brother came up to me. He was visiting over here one day, and he's like, why don't you talk to some of these local MMA fighters? I'm like, they ain't going to talk to me. And I'm sorry if you guys have heard this story 1,000 times, because I know I've told it at least 10 times on here. But I was like, they're not going to talk to me. They're famous. What are you talking about? And he was like, they're just people. And, you know, something clicked whenever he said that. I was like, they are just people. The worst they could say is no. So I messaged a whole bunch of wrestlers. I messaged DeJuan Pickney and Chauncey Foxworth and Solo Hatley, and just waited. And that night I received responses from like 5 people. I was like, holy crap. So from that point on, this show has been an interview show. And I think the interest for interviews for me came about because I like learning. I like talking to people about different things. And I think it's a really cool thing to see different cultures, different walks of life, different opinions on things. I just think it's a really cool thing, man. And I absolutely love it. I think I have one more question. I may not have gotten it written down. I'm going to see if I can play it while this is going on. And if not, I'll just record another one. We'll find out.
Two questions. What drives you? That would be a good question. The second question. What are your hopes and aspirations for the future? There you go.
So, Mike Salvia, a good friend of mine, actor, as you just heard, asked, what drives you? And what are your hopes and aspirations for the future? What drives me is that's kind of a good. That's a really good question, actually. What drives me? I'm a creator, bro. I love creating things. I love being able to make my own ideas come to fruition, bring them to reality. You know what I mean? I love being able to make an idea for an audio drama or for a song or even this podcast. I love the thought that I could go, I want to talk to that guy, and I can reach out and message him. I think just the curiosity and the creativeness of it all, I think that's what drives me for doing anything, really, because, dude, I love being creative. It's so much fun. You know that from the Brothers movie, from the Hooded Man audio drama, from anything that I've had you helping me out with, or I've helped you with, dude, I love being creative. I think that's the big driving factor is creativity and being able to have a creative outlet. You know, it's a way to express yourself in a different way. I love, I want to say I love 90% of everything that I work on. So like, I made a Batman, I made a Batman, a Doctor Who, and a Star Wars audio drama that's on YouTube. This year I've got 2 comic books that I've adapted that is going to be released. One of them already is. I think it came out this month. One comic book's going to be The Serpent Spectre, History Told, A Legend Born, I think is what it's called. It was released this month, I believe. And then Mr. Fish Comics, The Mighty Caw, A Savage Escape is coming in November. Not only that, we got the beginning of the Heroverse, The Hooded Man, and the Detective Case 1. Apart from that, the very first audio drama I released was Grief, and it's one of my favorite one of my favorite projects I've ever done. So we got those different things. I'm very excited about all of this. Ace Chronicles Chapter 1, The Long Journey, is getting a re-release. Remastered re-release this year. That's coming in September, I believe. I'm just so excited for the future, man. The creativity and the love for doing this is what drives me. I think it's so much fun to be able to learn on a podcast or to be able to create whenever it comes to audio drama or a comic book or whatever. You know, I think it's just so fun and it's great. I think that's what drives me. In the future aspirations, man, my hopes and aspirations for the future is to be the best dad I can be, the best husband I can be, to be a solid podcaster, a good friend. I don't want to get famous, and I've talked about this endlessly. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be famous. I want to, if I can make a living doing something I love, that's absolutely 100%, dude. That's freaking great. But if I can't, I'm not going to worry about it. I do this stuff because I love it. I do it because it's fun for me. I do it because it's not a job. It's something that I can really get into and do. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think that's my future aspirations and hopes would all be to grow as a person, really. And to continue on my journey of creativity with Shirley Boy Entertainment. I have one particular goal that I really want to do, and that is make music. I want to write some new songs and record some music this year. I want to put it out on Spotify, and it may not be out on Spotify music, but I may have a Spotify podcast page dedicated to my music and release individual tracks on there. I've been thinking about that very heavily. It may be something that people have to pay for. It may not be. I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet that far, but I do want to record some music. But as far as my hopes and aspirations, that's it, man. I want to be the best person I can be. I want to be a good friend, a better friend than I have been. I want to be a better dad than I have been, a better husband than I have been, a better person than I have been, a better employee than I have been. I want to be a better creator than I have been. I want to be a better host than I have been as far as interviews go. You know, I just want to be the best that I can be, and I want to keep growing. Thanks, Mike, man. I appreciate those questions. And thank you, everybody else who's been on this journey with us. It was a lot of fun. I've had so much fun here just chatting it up, talking about my goals, talking about a little bit about the past, talking a little bit about the present, future, emotions, mental health awareness. God, it's been a good Ask Adam episode, and I cannot thank you enough. So, guys, until the next Ask Adam episode, this one has been a lot of fun. This has been a great time, and I always end with 3 things from gratefulness. You guys know what they are. It's my support system. I couldn't do it without anybody in there. I don't have any guests on this time, but I couldn't do it without you, the listeners, the viewers, the people tuned in right now. Guys, without you, I would be some random dude just talking to himself with nobody caring or listening. So I appreciate each and every one of you listening right now. And the third is the good Lord above and my health. So guys, until next time, don't forget to subscribe, like, share. Get on this podcast thing with me. Help me out. Please. I'm really wanting your help. I want you to like it, subscribe it, all the good stuff. Guys, I appreciate you so much. You have a great rest of your day, evening, night, whenever you are listening to this, and we will talk to you very, very soon on another episode of the Adam Talks podcast.